10:10 Bible Study. Jump into the Word with us.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of our 10:10 Bible Study. Today we are talking about 1 Corinthians 7. And if you guys have skimmed over 1 Corinthians 7 at all today, or if you skim over it later, one of the first words you're going to see is marriage. And for some of you guys, you might think, oh, I'm excited, I can't wait to talk about marriage. And for some of you, you might go, ugh, are you serious? Do we really have to talk about this? The answer is to both of those. Yes, we have to talk about it, but don't get overly excited about it, because there's some stuff you probably don't want to hear. Let me start off with what Paul talks about. Paul talks about how marriage is a good thing. It is a good thing for a man to desire a wife, for a woman to desire a husband. It is a good thing for husband and wife to desire each other. Now, they should only desire one. A wife should only desire one husband, and a man should desire one wife, and they should not desire to divorce from one another. They should not desire to split. They should desire to honor one another, stay together, honor their children, raise them up in their household, etc., etc. Paul goes deep into that. But Paul also mentions how when you're in a marriage, it ultimately is honoring to God. However, it can be distracting. And the reason he talks about distractions, and I now understand this a whole lot better, and so I'm going to talk from my personal experience. Before I met my fiancée, Sophie, who some of you guys met on Zoom, she is wonderful, and I absolutely love her. But before meeting her, I do recall I was able to focus a lot more on God. I did not feel like I had to also invest my entire being into this person that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And the fact of the matter is that I had invested in my best friends. I had invested in my family, but I also knew they didn't feel as much of a distraction because there wasn't a romantic interest. Paul knows this truth, and he talks about it in chapter 7. The romantic interest that I now find in Sophie, that I have found since we started dating up until when we got engaged, and now as we are preparing for our wedding, the romantic interest that I feel towards her does sometimes conflict with how I feel about God. It does sometimes cause me to wrestle, where I go, is the right thing to do here to honor God and to outright tell Sophie, this is what we need to do, this is the way that God says it, or maybe do I sometimes need to be more gentle and not just tell it how it is? It's a hard balance, and it's something where I can't just do what I think is best. I have to do what God thinks is best. And there might be times I don't fully understand. But then Paul gets into singleness, which is where, honestly, if I were your guys' age right now, when I was in middle and high school, this is the part that I loved. Paul talks about singleness, and he says, it's okay to be single. And for me in middle and high school, as the awkward guy with no game that I was like, yes, it's okay to be single. I think I like her, but it's okay to be single. It's cool. Paul did it, so I can do it. And the fact of the matter is that Paul was incredibly disciplined to be single. And so if you desire to be single, you're incredibly disciplined. And that opens you up to love God more, because you don't have to share your love towards anyone else. Yes, you'll love your family and your best friends, but you don't have to give any level of romantic love to anyone. You can purely devote that towards God. To be totally honest, it sounds easier. And Paul describes it. It's not a bad thing to be single. It's actually something to be commended, because like I said, it requires discipline. And so this wrestle that we have sometimes between, should I be single? Should I date? Should I pursue him or her? Should I maybe just go to church instead? You know, if I can give you guys any wisdom as a 22-year-old who was not in your shoes too long ago, I'm still pretty young, I still remember what it was like to be in middle and high school. Honestly, wait on the Lord. Don't try to make things happen yourself. Don't try to push faster than you're ready. Because I can tell you right now, looking back, I might have been ready towards the end of high school to date, but then there was no one that I really wanted to pursue for a long-term relationship. Relationships aren't meant to be short-term. They're meant to be long-term. They're meant to be lifelong, especially when you're looking for a spouse. Dating's not something to just do on the whim for fun. You're trying to meet someone you want to marry. And if you're not ready to do that, trust me, guys, it saved me a lot of heartache and pain, and it could save you guys a lot of heartache and pain too. Just wait on the Lord, trust in His timing, and He will bring you a person if it is in His plan for you to get married. And if it's not, you are one of the most disciplined people ever if you're able to go through this whole life, not be married, and have your full faith in God. Honestly, guys, this chapter is hard. It's really, really deep. Try to find maybe a commentary or a study Bible. Read more on chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians. It's really good, chock full of information. I highly recommend that you guys spend some time studying it and learn more about what it's like to pursue holiness while also maybe wanting to date or wanting to remain single. See you guys tomorrow for chapter 8. Deuces.
1010 Bible Study. Jump into the Word with us.